Let's cut the fantasy. Cheating doesn't strike like lightning. It creeps in like smoke through a cracked window, slow, quiet, but deadly. By the time you notice, it's already in your lungs, choking the peace right out of your life. What nobody tells you is this: a woman who cheats never does it cleanly. She always leaves behind fingerprints on your routine, your peace, your gut. Most men ignore them. They explain them away. They tell themselves it's just stress, just a phase, just overthinking. But the truth, you saw it. You just didn't want it to be true. This video isn't about paranoia. It's not about making you suspicious of every woman you date. It's about patterns, emotional shifts, micro behaviors, subtle but undeniable changes that, when stacked together, paint a picture of emotional betrayal. And if you've ever felt that numb ache, that tightening in your chest that whispers, "She's slipping," this one's for you. Sign number 1. She disconnects but keeps smiling. This is what makes it confusing. She doesn't leave, she lingers. That's why it messes with your mind. You still see her every day. She still makes you coffee, still kisses you goodbye, still says good morning, but she doesn't look up when she says it. Her words feel pre-programmed, like she's going through the motions of a role she no longer enjoys playing. You ask how she's doing and she says, "I'm fine." Not because it's true, but because it's easy. It's the safest answer, the shortest route away from vulnerability. But here's the thing, there's a shift, a quiet one, subtle. Stoic men feel it before anyone else. She's present, yes, but her spirit is elsewhere. The laughter that used to bubble out of her naturally now feels rehearsed. Her eye contact, brief, guarded, hollow. You crack a joke, she smiles, but not with her eyes, not with her body, not with that spark that once made her glow in your presence. It's the kind of smile you give a stranger in an elevator, polite, empty. She tells you she's tired, that work's been stressful, that she needs space. But listen carefully, those are not solutions. They are stall tactics, words designed to buy time, not rebuild connection. And deep down, you know it. Not because you're emotional, because you're observant. A stoic man doesn't ignore patterns just because they're inconvenient. He watches without needing proof. He listens beyond what's being said. And what you're hearing, what you're feeling, is this: she's already begun detaching. Not in the dramatic way with slammed doors or shouted accusations, but in the quiet, calculated way that makes love feel like a job, like presence has become a performance. Because when a woman starts investing her emotional currency somewhere else, she starts rationing what little remains for you, and what's left. Just enough to keep things feeling normal, just enough to prevent you from asking questions, just enough to stop you from walking away first. But here's the gut punch. You're not crazy. You're not insecure. You're witnessing the quiet corrosion of intimacy. And if you stay silent about it, you'll start to disappear too. Not from her life, but from your own sense of worth. That's how emotional betrayal begins. Not with lies, but with the slow death of truth. Sign number 2. She starts hiding in plain sight. She doesn't yell. She doesn't storm out. She just gets quiet, strategically. You used to know everything. The annoying coworker, the weird dream she had, what she ate for lunch, what song got stuck in her head. Now, her life has compartments, and you're no longer invited into all of them. She still talks, yes, but only when it's convenient. Only when the story is safe. Only when it serves a version of herself she wants you to see. That's the first shift. The second? The phone. It used to be just a device. Left on the couch, forgotten on the bed. Now it's always in her hand. Face down, notifications silenced. She angles it away from you when she types. You didn't ask for her password. You didn't accuse her of anything. But somehow she's already on the defense. And if you even ask, she'll say, "You're paranoid. You're being insecure. You're trying to control me." But a stoic man, he knows better. Truth doesn't fear observation. If something is real, it doesn't need a shield. If love is honest, it doesn't hide behind privacy. Because when someone truly values peace, they don't plant seeds of suspicion and call it your issue. This isn't about control. It's about contrast. Contrast between who she used to be, open, expressive, transparent, and who she's becoming. Guarded, evasive, careful with the details. That's not growth. That's concealment. And concealment always has a reason. Cheating doesn't begin with a kiss. It begins with the eraser of access. One missing detail, one quiet shift, one locked door in a house you used to have all the keys to. And the worst part, she wants you to question yourself, not her. Because as long as you keep blaming your instincts, she never has to explain her behavior. But a stoic man doesn't need proof. He only needs pattern. And when someone starts living two lives, you're not imagining it. You're just the one left out of the second one. Sign number 3, her body stays, but her intimacy doesn't. You still share a bed. You still brush shoulders. Maybe you even still make love. But somehow, it doesn't feel like home anymore. The warmth is gone. The rhythm is off. There's something invisible now living between you. A barrier, a silence, a presence that says, I'm here but not really. Some nights she turns away without a word. Other nights she initiates. But it feels too intense, too sudden, too performative. Like she's trying to prove something. Or worse, hide something. And you're left wondering, which is more painful? The silence that makes you feel unwanted, or the passion that doesn't feel like it's meant for you? Here's the truth most men avoid. When a woman is cheating, emotionally or physically, her intimacy with you changes always. Sometimes it disappears. Sometimes it morphs into something unnatural. But it never stays the same. Because real intimacy isn't about how often it happens. It's about how present she is when it does. And when that presence is no longer rooted in love, you feel it, not just in your heart, in your bones, in your gut, in the way she breathes after, in the way she avoids eye contact, in the way the room feels colder, even when she's lying beside you. It's like kissing a ghost, touching someone whose body is there, but whose soul is elsewhere. Like your body is being borrowed, not cherished, used, not held. And when you bring it up, she says, you're imagining things. I'm just tired. You're being too sensitive. But you're not. You're paying attention. Because sex, when real, is a language. And right now, that language has changed. It's not fluent. It's not native. It's not you. It's artificial. And here's the stoic reality. A woman cannot share her body with you while her soul belongs somewhere else. And the longer you pretend that it's still the same, the more you betray your own intuition, just to protect her comfort. But a man grounded in reason doesn't deny the signs. He respects them. He studies them. And most importantly, he acts. Because when the fire goes out, you don't blame the smoke. You check if someone's already lit a match somewhere else. Sign number 4, she starts arguments that don't make sense. Suddenly, every small mistake becomes an explosion. You forgot to text her back, now she says you don't care. You left a dish in the sink, now you never listen. You gave a simple answer and now she's questioning your tone. And at first, you do what every good man does. You try to fix it. You apologize. You review the conversation in your mind, replaying it again and again, wondering, did I miss something? But deep down, you know, this isn't about the text. It's not about the dish. It's not about your tone. It's displacement. She's not fighting with you. She's fighting with her own guilt. See, when a woman crosses the emotional line, or is thinking about it, she has to create distance. And distance often wears the mask of conflict. Because in her mind, if you're the problem, then she's not the villain. If you're cold, if you're distant, if you're too much, if you're not enough, then stepping out isn't betrayal. It's self-care. And here's what makes it insidious. She convinces herself first. Then she tries to convince you. And if you don't see through it, you'll start playing defense in a war you didn't start. You'll try to fix what was never broken. You'll walk on eggshells in a house you helped to build. You'll shrink to fit into the version of you she's made up, the one that justifies her escape. But a stoic man sees the game for what it is. Conflict in this case is not communication. It's camouflage. It's her way of turning the spotlight away from her choices and onto your flaws, real or imagined. Because if she paints herself as the wounded party, then what comes next feels less like betrayal and more like freedom. But here's the thing. You weren't born to carry another person's guilt, and you don't argue with someone who's already decided. You're the villain in their redemption arc. You observe, you detach, you protect your peace. Because when a woman weaponizes conflict to justify disloyalty, the last thing you do is try to win the argument. You win by walking away from the game. Sign number 5, her future no longer includes you. This is the one that doesn't scream. It whispers. No dramatic arguments, no cold shoulders. Just soft, subtle edits to the life she once dreamed of with you. She used to say, "When we get a place together." Now she says, "I've been thinking of moving." She used to dream out loud about weekends away, about building a life, building memories, building something bigger than just herself. And she used to say "we" in every sentence. Now she talks about healing, about evolving, about discovering who she is, but never with you in the picture. Your name, your presence has quietly vanished from her future. Not because of something you did, not because of a single fight or moment, but because in her mind, she's already halfway out the door. And here's the part that breaks most men. She's not asking you to leave. She's just making sure you stop feeling at home. There are no more plans, no more dreams, no more us, just space. And it's a kind of space she doesn't want you to fill. You try to bring it up. You ask her why everything feels different, why you're no longer part of her next chapter. She tells you, you're being dramatic, you're overthinking, you're reading too much into it. But a stoic man knows people don't fantasize about leaving unless they've already started to go. First emotionally, then mentally, then physically. By the time she says, "It's not working," it's not a decision, it's a confirmation. Because she's been rehearsing this breakup, this exit, this slow disappearance for weeks, maybe months. Every time she said, "I just need space," it wasn't a request. It was a countdown. And every day you stayed, hoping for warmth. She was adjusting to the cold. That's why her hugs feel mechanical. Why her eyes avoid yours. Why your presence feels tolerated, not treasured. And here's the final cut. She's not confused. She's rehearsing. She's removing you from her future before she removes herself from your present. And if you don't accept the exit she's already planned, you'll end up haunting a relationship that doesn't exist anymore. But a grounded man, he doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, and he doesn't sit quietly in a space where he's being emotionally evicted. Because dignity isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It doesn't scream. It just quietly walks away, while the other person still thinks they're in control. Let's make something painfully clear. Cheating doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins in the silence, in the way questions go unanswered, in the smiles that don't reach her eyes, in the "I'm fine" that doesn't feel fine at all. It begins the moment she starts rationing her affection, and you start convincing yourself it's enough. A woman doesn't cheat the day she's with another man. She cheats the day she disconnects from you and chooses not to come back. The signs? They were always there. You just kept calling them phases, calling them mood swings, calling them stress. But a stoic man doesn't chase illusions. He doesn't argue with energy that's already gone. And he never begs for a seat at a table where he's no longer being served. Because once you abandon your own self-respect to keep someone close, you've already lost more than the relationship. You've lost yourself. So here's the final truth. If she had to betray you to find herself, she was never really yours. And if this spoke to your gut, if it cleared the fog you've been pretending isn't there, comment clarity, because clarity isn't pain, it's freedom. And if you're done guessing, doubting, and second-guessing your instincts, subscribe, because around here, we don't chase shadows. We sharpen minds, and we never fear the truth.